PK52, the Saturday morning meeting. Hey, dressed up like we're from a series from Yellowstone. Hey, listen, I guess I'm okay with the Ram truck driving around Wyoming and Montana. I mean, they did a good job. They jump on with Paramount. They got their truck out there, and it's been a good source of advertising for their truck because a lot of people watching that series. However, they drove to the 4.6s. They drove to the 4.6s, gang. And once they drove to the 4.6s, I expected to see some Tundras parked around the 4.6s. Now, that's a Texas ranch. So maybe we should lobby Paramount and go, how about throwing a couple of capstones and a couple of TRD pros out there on the 4.6s on the next episode when you drive to the 4.6s. I'd love to see that. So this is part 3 of the Tundra series. Going to go in character a little bit. I don't know if you know it or not, but 2022 Texas Truck of the Year just announced, the all-new Toyota Tundra. Gotta love that. So let's talk about what happened. In the last couple of weeks, we talked about the vehicle. Now let's talk about how this vehicle came to pass. Toyota takes 42 engineers from the United States, flies them to Japan, along with Mike Swears. And they say, when they got them to Japan, they go, you have 2 years to not only design the revolutionary new half-ton truck, but we want to take our 3 world platforms and we're going to go to one frame and one platform, the F platform, and eliminate the other 2. So they had a 2-year window. And so, like I told you last week, I'm going to play an engineer on TV right now. Can you imagine being in the room day one with all the ideas going around? I've got to tell you, some of these engineers probably came up with some revolutionary ideas on trucks, and everybody's going like, wow, that's the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my whole life. That's going to revolutionize the whole truck industry. Unfortunately, it's scientifically impossible. But you know some of those ideas were out there. There were good ones, there were bad ones, they were overruled, there was arguments. So the first few days, I don't think anybody had a piece of clay trying to carve a truck. They probably weren't doing any kind of drafting pictures of it. It was just, what is this truck all about? Can you imagine the wordsmithing going on? You know, recreational versus work. And I mean, just different words being thrown out there. And then once they decided what the philosophy of this new platform and this new truck was going to be, then they started building it. We moved these people from their homes to another continent to start this process. Amazing to me. Amazing. 2 years. Day one, the ideas flew around. And so they came up and they decided, we're going to go with a fully boxed frame. Well, wait a minute. We've been selling against that forever with our triple tech. But wait, we're going to change everything. We're going to make this frame, like I said in the earlier video, we're going to make it stronger. The problem is when you make a frame stronger, then the more rigidity you have in the frame, the more fixed it is, the more feedback you're going to get as the driver or passenger. So Dodge had jumped out. They've been the first innovator. They went out and put coil springs on the back. Now that's a singular rate coil spring. Obviously springs get stronger as they get compressed, the nature of the spring. However, the first thing the Tundra engineers said was, well, we want a dual rate spring. So we want the top half of the spring to be so super light duty. If I'm on a dirt road, this little washboard, rain out dirt road, pop, 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 I want to make sure that spring is floating over that road so I have less feedback. As that compresses, then we're going to change the dynamics of the coils and they're going to become stronger and stronger. So a dual purpose. So that's a difference in our coil versus the coil that we have with Ram. So if you want to look at how the suspension goes, so I don't know if you know everything about suspension. Obviously, we've had leaf springs forever, but I've got a frame. I've got the leaf spring bolted here inside in the front, both inside and the back, and then I've got it bolted onto the axle. So I've got 6 points where that axle can't move. So if that truck goes sideways, the axle can't move here to here, and it can't move here to here, and it can't move side to side because I've got it fixed. The problem with that is I've got to decide how much spring rate I want in that leaf spring. If I put too much in there and I don't have a load, no towing or no hauling, then all of a sudden I have horrible ride quality. Get into a Super Duty domestic truck, a 1-ton or higher. Don't put anything in the truck. Drive down a bumpy road and the truck's everywhere. But add a big payload or add a gooseneck trailer on the back, then it sets that down because it's built for that weight. So the beauty part about building a half-ton truck is you got the balance is everything. So we decided to get rid of the leaf springs. We went with the coils. So now the problem with the coil is I'm just putting a bed on the coils over the frame. So if I stop, the bed can go forward. If I accelerate, the bed can go back. If I turn real hard, inertia drives stuff to the outside. The bed can actually move to the outside off the frame. These are all really bad things. And if you go way back in the car business, when you've seen these initial coils that came out, you could get a lot of flex and a lot of movement from the actual body. So what we did is we went with a multi-link. So when you do the coil, you've got a link that comes up, it bolts into the frame. So now that front to back is isolated. It can't go. It's locked in. Biggest part is that side-to-side inertia. That's a big deal, especially if you're off-roading. Because I can move that bed side to side. So there's a panhard bar. And what that panhard bar does is it connects to the frame and to the axle, and it completely eliminates any side-to-side movement. So what we've done is we've revolutionized the ride quality and the workability of the truck by using coils and taking away the downside of being able to oscillate off the top of those coils. It's amazing. Again, playing an engineer on TV today. So as we go along, the big things that we now have to decide is how are we going to do the shocks. Now, I'm not going to touch the front suspension today, so I don't want to make this too long. But if I buy an SR5, then I'm going to get a coil setup and shocks. And they're going to be set up for the truck. It's going to work perfectly. However, if I decide to go ahead and go TRD Pro, or now let me just go TRD. So SR5 TRD, they're going to drop in Bilstein shocks. So I've got coils and Bilsteins. Now, Bilstein's a monotube shock. And the reason it was designed was it has tremendous ability to dissipate heat. As we talked last week, if I heat up my brakes, they won't stop. If I heat up my shocks, they won't shock. And so because of this Bilstein, the blue shock you see, it has the ability to wick heat off of it. So if I'm on a dirt road, so I'm living at the 4.6s, okay? And I'm driving down that dirt road every day. There's no asphalt. And those shocks are getting worked and worked and worked. A regular shock will superheat, and they can actually foam on the inside of the dual chamber. This single chamber shock won't foam up, and it's based to perform in that light duty off-road situation. It is perfect. Now, if I jump up to the TRD Pro, which we really haven't talked about because it's iForce Max, it's not out yet, but now I can get the Fox shocks. And so just go to the next level. Go from Bilstein's phenomenal college football, now you're going to pro football because now you're rock climbing, you're going off-road, you're asking the tires and the wheels and the shocks, everything to undulate, and you're putting a lot of pressure on the shocks. Well, the Fox shocks are very superior in beast mode off-road. So let's look. So I got coils and shocks, coils and Bilsteins, coils and Fox, and now I've got airbags. So I've got an airbag shock system with an adjustable ride quality. So the cool thing about it is if I go manual mode, I'm going to go low. I'm going to drop it down because I'm going to be pulling the trailer. Once I come out of the hole with that trailer, I want that butt end of that truck to be down. The beauty part about it is once you get the truck going, no matter what the weight of the trailer is, once you hit above 8 miles an hour, wham, it goes right back to neutral or the normal position. So I get to pull like I need to pull, but once I get it rolling, it goes back to normal. That's amazing. Now, why would I want the shocks to go high? Well, I'm in an off-road situation and ground clearance may be really important. So I'm going very slow, very undulating. I'm going through some big dips, and you saw some of the stuff on the ride photos they gave you when the people went down and tested it in San Antonio. Wheels came off the ground and everything. And so that's what I'm in right now. I want to elevate those shocks to the high position, but once I get off that pull on the asphalt, and now I'm running over 18 miles an hour, wham, it goes right back to the normal position. All this is done for you. It's just genius. And I've got adaptable ride now so that if I put a trailer on there, it's constantly changing the shock position based upon what the road's doing, what the trailer's doing, and all of these things. So I've got 4 different shock and coil sets up. 4. And so I understand why the customer's going to come in the dealership and want everything. Whatever, put it all in there. Just, it's like going to one of those Cold Stone creameries, man, and they got all this stuff on there. What do you want on there? Just put it all in there. Now you don't have any ice cream. You got gummy bears and Oreos. So they don't need everything. It's not the right truck. And I realize when you do a dealer trade, the truck's not there, it's always clean. I know it's always clean. I know it's full of gas. I know it's the best color in the history of the world. I know because I've sold dealer trades before. You don't have to take a demo drive or do a walk around because the truck's not there. However, it's the wrong truck. So instead of putting somebody in an iForce Max TRD Pro, The best overall truck for them based upon the way they're going to use it on a day in, day out basis may be an SR5 Crewmax. Or maybe the TRD Sport because they drive mostly city driving. Or maybe the TRD Off-Road because you have that option throughout the lineup. The more you know about the packages, the more you know about what these packages do for each individual truck. Why do you think Toyota built a SR and SR5, a Limited, a Platinum, a 1794, and a Capstone, and a TRD Pro? All of these trucks are different. All of them are different. All of them have a different concept. Now you can change and intermix, but they all have a different place and a different role. Find out the value of each single package and sell that package to the customer. So this is the tip of the iceberg. Now that we have this platform, you've seen the Sequoia, they just launched it. People keep asking me, Casey, how many Sequoias are there going to be? Well, it's iForce Max only, gang, so I don't know how many power plants are we going to build. I don't know that answer. And it's somebody hit me up on Messenger today, and they go, how much is it going to be? Baby, you have to ask how much a Sequoia is going to be. You're not needing a Sequoia. You need a Corolla. So it's going to be expensive, but it's going to be, you've got to understand the truck. You're not selling the same Sequoia you sold a year ago. No way. And then, I've owned 13 4Runners. Personally owned 13 4Runners. I love the 4Runner. I think it's got the greatest look. You see them going down the street, man. If they got the right package on them, they catch your eye. I don't care if you've ever owned one or not. They catch your eye. Can you imagine the power plant and the platforms that we're talking about right now going into the next generation 4Runner? You don't even know how fired up that gets me. And to be honest, you may live in an urban area, but you may still need a truck, and parking a full-size half-ton truck is a pain. Around Texas, I feel so bad about all the Texans down here because they got to back the truck into a parking space, man. You cannot pull a truck straight into a park because they'll know you're not from Texas. Oh, you ain't from Texas, are you? So now you're in this little compact area. You're trying to back your stupid truck in there. The new Tacoma, can you imagine with all this technology on it? So we got Sequoia, then we got 4Runner, then we got Tacoma. Apologize, everybody's got respiratory, right? So the last thing I'll tell you is I just wrote a brand new program called Truck Heritage. It's an hour-and-a-half digital program. It's a deep dive into what did the influencers say? What did the magazines say? When the people drove the truck, what did they say? What did the engineers said about the truck? Not what are the numbers, not what are the numbers, not horsepower and torque and everything, but what is the down deep, dark side of how we changed everything and why that's going to make a difference in the future. Listen, I know there's only 165,000 Tundras, and that's not enough considering that Ford is going to sell over 900,000 F-150s. But I'll be honest with you. I just sold a Tundra to somebody who's never owned a Toyota before. His daughter's first car is going to be a RAV4. Mama's next car, she better hurry, is going to be an Avalon. And then all of a sudden, the grandma and the grandpa are going, well, yeah, I like that Highlander, And so we've taken somebody that's been a Ford or a Chevy or a Dodge truck owner all their life. And they buy this Tundra, it changes the whole landscape of the people that they influence and the people they live with. This was a bold move for Toyota, and they nailed it. PK52, the 4 6s Saturday morning meeting.